Good morning, all. I welcome you, everybody, in this small session on role of HRCT in the COVID-19 patients. On behalf of Radiology Department and Imaging, Bharati Hospital and Research Center, Pune. So, in the next 30 minutes or so, I will cover this topic under these heading: introduction. Then I will enumerate the different diagnostic tools used in the diagnosis of COVID-19 patients. Then I will discuss about the World Health Organization guidelines for indication of imaging. Then we'll go to the different imaging patterns, what we see in our day-to-day clinical practice on HRCT lungs. Then we'll move on to the complications of the disease, and finally I'll conclude the session at the end of this session. So, as we all know, COVID-19 is a contagious disease, and it started as a severe flu-like disease in December 2019 in the Wuhan city of China. Subsequently, it was named as a novel coronavirus in January 2020, and it was renamed as SARS-CoV-2. And finally, the World Health Organization in February 2020 named the virus as coronavirus disease 19. It has rapidly spread to all the countries and affected the people globally. And hence the WHO declared this disease as pandemic on 11th March 2020. So if you see from December 2019 till date, the new literature is coming every month, and all of us are under continuous learning curve. But what is most important is to diagnose the case early so that patient isolation can be done and the treatment can be started within time. Till now, more than 3.8 crores of the patients has been affected globally, and in India we have around 80 to 85 lakhs of the patients. This virus has specific affinity for cell receptor angiotensin converting enzyme 2. So the main targets of this virus are nasal cavity or cells in the lung, kidney, liver, gastrointestinal tract, and vascular endothelial cells and the arterial smooth muscle cells, because all these cells are rich in the ACE2 receptors. So this is the list of different diagnostic tools used in making the diagnosis of COVID-19 patients. The first and foremost is the RT-PCR. As we know, RT-PCR is highly specific test in the detection of the patient of COVID-19, but it takes a lot of time. A lot of time means it takes at least a day or so to generate the report. That is the main limitation. But if you see the sensitivity of this test, it varies or is documented between 35 to 70% in the literature. So that is also one of the problem with RT-PCR. The other tests which are used in making the diagnosis are the antigen test, that is detection of the viral protein S or N. Then rapid antibody test for the detection of the IgM and IgG antibody. Then there are different biomarkers which help us to make the diagnosis, like C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, dimer, D-dimer, LDH, and the ferritin. The imaging tests which are used to the diagnosis of these patients are radiograph and the CT scan. So this is a screenshot of a World Health Organization manual which is published in June 2020, which clearly says that we should go ahead with the imaging if the patient is symptomatic and the RT-PCR test is not available. Second, if the patient is symptomatic and the RT-PCR test is available but the results are delayed. And in third, if the patient is symptomatic and if the RT-PCR test is negative but there is a very high clinical suspicion of COVID-19 patient. So in such a patient, you should go ahead with the imaging. It also clearly says that if the patient is asymptomatic contact, imaging is not required. Second point, they have mentioned that if the patient is symptomatic and if the RT-PCR results are available within time, then also the imaging is not required for such patients. Imaging also help us to decide whether home isolation is required or whether the hospital admission is required. And also in the hospital admission, whether the patient needs to be admitted in the ward or whether in the ICU. Imaging help us to decide of the therapeutic management. One point they have mentioned that if the patient is recovered from the disease and is asymptomatic, or if the symptoms are decreasing when the patient is IPD, then at the time of discharge, imaging is not required. So the main role of HRCT in the COVID-19 is to detect the lung changes in the RT-PCR negative patient, first point. Second point, to evaluate the complication or to look for the complications like pulmonary thromboembolism or other vascular complication. And third indication is to look for any alternative diagnosis. So as we know, CT is a promising complementary tool in the detection of lung changes, especially the early lung changes in the COVID-19 patients, because of its rapidity and its early availability of the results and ample availability of the machineries in the town. But unfortunately, till date, the guidelines says that this CT is not used as a diagnostic tool, or it should not be used as a screening tool in the COVID-19 patient. So this is the recent review of literature which is published in the American Journal of Radiology in the month of October this month, which clearly states the same. And it also says that it is specifically used to detect the complication of the disease and to look for any alternative diagnosis. So this is the diagrammatic representation of a common radiological findings in COVID-19 patients. So these are the four common findings what we see in our day-to-day practice. The first and foremost is the ground glass opacity. The second is the ground glass opacity with interlobular septal thickening, which produces the crazy penny appearance. The third one is the consolidation, and fourth one is the reverse hollow sign or the atoll sign, or you can say organizing pneumonia pattern. So we'll come to this one by one. So all the radiological findings are categorized into four groups as per the British Journal of Radiology. The first group is typical pattern or the classical pattern. When you see multiple ground glass opacities which are typically peripherally placed, predominantly involving the lower lobes in the bilateral lungs, along with or without the reticular opacities or crazy pink pattern or reverse hollow sign or peripheral consolidation, then your confidence level is almost 100% in making the diagnosis of COVID-19 patient. The second group is a probable group in which you will see the consolidation which are peripherally placed in both lobes, particularly around the bronchus, with reverse hollow sign or with less of the ground glass opacity. So your confidence levels drop down to 71% to 99% in this group, and it is a probable group. The third group is an indeterminate group or equivocal group, where the confidence level is less than 70%, and you will see the disease pattern that does not typically fits into the classical pattern and the probable pattern. Or if you see the typical radiological pattern or the probable radiological pattern, but the clinical findings does not support the diagnosis of COVID-19 patient, COVID-19 disease. So this is a indeterminate group or the equivocal group. And the last group is a atypical presentation, where you can see the radiological appearance is seen only in one lobe, or there may be a centrilobular nodule or twin bud appearance. There may be a cavitary lesions, and there may be lymphadenopathy or the pleural effusion. So these changes are very uncommon in COVID-19 and seen in only less than 5% of the patients. And if these changes are present, you should think of other alternative diagnosis. Then what do you mean by ground glass opacity? So this is the diagrammatic representation of ground glass opacity. This is the normal lung. This black color is a normal lung, and this white color lines are the vessels which are traversing through the lung. In this, if you see, this is the radio opacity here, and the vessels are seen traversing through the radio opacity. So ground glass opacity means increased attenuation in the lung parenchyma that does not obscure the bronchovascular markings. So this is reported most commonly in the COVID-19 patients and is seen around 70% of the patient. The right lower lobe is most commonly affected. It starts developing from day 0 to day 4 of the disease, and the peak is around 10 to 12 days of the disease. It may disappear with progression. It may disappear after 14 days, or it may evolve into consolidation or reverse hollow sign. So this is the classical appearance of ground glass opacity involving both the lung fields. You can see increased attenuation of the bilateral upper lobes, and you can see the vessels which are traversing through the opacity. So these are nothing but the changes of ground glass opacity in a proven case of COVID-19 patient. Second pattern is crazy paving pattern. So what do you mean by crazy paving pattern? In crazy paving pattern, you will see the ground glass opacity, but on the background of ground glass opacity, there will be a thickened interlobular septate, because the inflammatory cells get entry into the interstitium, and the interstitium involves in the crazy paving pattern. So this is not supposed to be the typical pattern of the COVID-19, because the crazy paving pattern is also seen in other clinical conditions like alveolar proteinosis, then cardiac failure, then ARDS, then other atypical viral pneumonias. So it is seen in the subacute phase of the disease, and it corresponds to the peak clinical disease. It may progress to the consolidation, or it may regress in the subsequent days. So this is the classical appearance of the crazy paving. You can see ground glass opacity in the both lung fields, and there are thickened interlobular septae, which produces the crazy paving appearance. The third imaging pattern is consolidation. Consolidation is nothing but homogeneous increase in attenuation, which obscures the underlying lung, bronchi and the vessels. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the same. This is the normal lung, and this is the abnormal opacity in the normal lung. You can see the vessels are getting obscured by the opacity. So that is the difference between consolidation and the ground glass opacity. In the ground glass opacity, you will have the increased attenuation, but the vascular marker will be present, or will be seen through the opacity, and in the consolidation, the attenuation will be increased, and the vascular marking will be obscured through the opacity. So that is the difference between the two. The presence of consolidation indicates progression of the disease, and along with the ground glass opacity, it is seen in around 50 to 60% of the patient. It is also seen in subacute phase of the disease, and in the follow-up, if you see a bacterial, if you see a cavitation within the consolidation, then it suggests the bacterial superinfection. Okay, and in the evolution phase, the consolidation get organized, and there will be development of the volume loss, bronchiectasis, and the bronchiolectasis. So this is the CT picture, which shows the peripheral wedge-shaped consolidation in the posterior lung, along with some ground glass opacities in the anterior lung and some septa. Fourth one is the reverse hollow sign. Reverse hollow sign is seen in organizing pneumonia. So what do you mean by reverse hollow? Reverse hollow is nothing but the presence of ground glass opacity, which is surrounded by consolidation. So it is seen in progressive as well as recovery phase of the disease. In the progressive phase, it develops from ground glass opacity to the reverse hollow, or in the recovery phase, it develops from the consolidation. Sometimes you may see a multifocal disease, or the multifocal ground glass opacities, or the small patches of consolidation in around 10% of the patient. In this case, you can see there are very small ground glass opacity in the subpleural location, and this is small consolidation in the middle lobe, and this is small consolidation in the right lobe. So a multifocal appearance can be seen in around 10% of the COVID-19 patients. Then 15 to 20% of the patient shows unilateral lung involvement. So what this classical description is, it should be bilateral, it should be basal, it should be subpleural. You may not see the typical appearance in each and every patient. So some patient may show you a typical appearance of the disease also. So here you can see small area of ground glass opacity in the lower lobe. 15% of the patient shows a single lobe involvement, but it should be along with the ground glass opacity. So in this patient, if you see, there is a ground glass opacity and small patch of consolidation. So lobar involvement can also be seen in the COVID-19 patient. In the late stage of the disease, you will see the thickening of the bronchial wall, then bronchiectasis and bronchiolectasis. It is seen in around 10 to 20% of the patient. The bronchial wall thickening is more commonly seen in pediatric age group as compared to the adult age group. And in the pediatric age group, the disease is more central. In the adult, you will see the peripheral involvement of the lung, while in the pediatric age group, you will see the central involvement of the lung. Then vascular engorgement is one of the important sign in the COVID-19. So what is vascular engorgement is within the opacity. The vessel within the opacity is distended. The cause of this enlarged vessel could be either due to the effect of the cytokinins or due to the thrombosis of the subsegmental vessel. In 20% of the patient, you will see a subpleural line. This is also a sign of late disease. In this patient, you can see a large parenchymal band in the posterior lobes on both sides, along with mild ground glass opacity. Then this is a list of poor prognostic factor on HSD. If you see bilateral involvement of the lung, if you see central as well as peripheral lung involvement in anteroposterior direction, if the CT CVT score is high, if there is a presence of crazy paving pattern and extensive consolidation on CT scan, and if there is a segmental or subsegmental engorgement of the vessel, then it indicates a poor prognostic factor on CT. And such a patient generally requires ICU admission and a short-term short-term recovery or the short-term follow-up is required. Sometimes you may see atypical findings. So atypical findings are seen in less than 5% of the patient. And if you see these findings, you should think of some other alternative diagnosis. So the atypical findings are isolated lobar pneumonia without ground glass opacity, then multiple nodules, typically tree bud appearance, then cavitation and calcification, presence of abnormal lymph nodes in the mediastinum, pleural effusion and pericardial effusion. So this is a case. This patient presented as a fever and cough of long duration, and the imaging was done. In this patient, you can see there are multiple abnormally dilated bronchi seen as a bronchiectasis. You can see there is dilated wall of the thickened wall of this bronchi. There are multiple central lobular nodules in the lower lobe. You can see tree bud appearance. So this is a case of bronchiectasis secondary to the tuberculosis with superadded infection, or you can say it's endobronchial spread of the infection, as there is a tree bud appearance. This is the second patient. This patient had radiopacities or the cavitary lesions in the lung. That's why the CT scan was advised. Clinically, the patient presented as a productive cough. On the CT scan, what you see is there is a loculated pneumothorax on the right side. And you can see there is a large thick walled cavity in the left lung, along with there is presence of the bilateral pleural effusion. So this is again a case of sequelae of pulmonary tuberculosis. Sometimes you may see a combination of two pathologies. Like in this patient clinically presented as a chronic cough, and the patient has a recent onset of fever and history of contact with the positive patient. And clinically, he was suspected of having the COVID-19 disease. That's why the imaging was performed. In these images, if you see, there is a ground glass opacity, which is typically subpleural in location. You can see it's thickening of the interlobular septa, classically giving rise to the crazy paving appearance. In the left lower lobe also, if you see, there is a ground glass opacity and small patches of consolidation. In the right lower lobe, you can see cystic bronchiectasis here. So this cystic bronchiectasis is a sequelae of old infection. The patient had history of tuberculosis, so this could be a sequelae of tuberculosis. And these new changes, ground glass opacities, interlobular septal thickening and consolidation, they are the changes of COVID-19. So this patient had both sequelae of old pox as well as the active COVID or the acute COVID disease. This patient, if you see, there is a large cavitary lesion here in the left lung. In the cavity, you can see there is a homogeneously enhancing or the mildly enhancing soft tissue density lesion. So this is a case of cavitary malignancy in the left lower lobe. And if you see, there are small ground glass opacities and multiple central lobular nodules and the septal thickening in the left lower lobe. So if you see any abnormality in the lung parenchyma on chest X-ray, it may not be necessary that each and every abnormality in the chest X-ray is COVID-19 disease. So you should think of some other causes of that abnormality, especially if the presentation is atypical. So COVID-19 patients who recover from the disease and do not progress to the ARDS shows typical temporal resolution of the radiological findings, and it is really useful to assess the stage of the disease. In the acute phase, the CT findings may be completely normal, and you may not see any abnormality. You may not see a small ground glass opacity, or you may not see a consolidation like crazy paving pattern in the CT scan. Subsequently, over the period of time, the patient develops small ground glass opacities, which are typically peripheral placed and subpleural location involving both the lower lobes. And subsequently, as the disease progresses, it spreads to the other lobes. Then further, in the further course of the disease, you will see development of the interstitial thickening, producing a crazy beam appearance, and development of the multifocal consolidation, and reverse hollow sign or the apple sign. In the resorptive stage or in the recovery stage, you will see multiple subpleural bands or multiple parenchymal bands, which is nothing but the organization of the consolidation or the organization of the ground glass opacity, which is commonly seen in the late stage of the disease after 14 days. But if the patient progresses to ARDS, you will see that classical appearance of acute respiratory distress syndrome with typical involvement of bilateral lungs, basal consolidation with ground glass opacities. So this is a patient on the day 2. This was the status. This patient was COVID positive and came for the imaging for the prognostication purpose. On the first imaging on day 2, you see there are very subtle small ground glass opacities in the bilateral lung fields. On the day 9, there was progression of the disease, progression of the ground glass opacities in size as well as in the number. You can see there is involvement of the middle lobe and the lingular segment also. And in the late phase of the disease, at 18 days of the after the onset of the symptoms, you can see there are multiple reticulations in the subpleural area. That is nothing but the organization of the consolidation. So, if the patient is not a known case of COVID-19 disease, or it is not a proven case of COVID-19 with RT-PCR, then you should mention the CORAD score in your report. So what is CORAD score? It is categorized from category 0 to category 6. In category 0, the scan is not interpretable. So sometimes you may see the patient is very breathless, and you see multiple ground glass opacities which are actually related to the poor breath holding capacity of the patient. So in that case, the scan is really not reportable. So you can categorize such patients into category 0. In category 1, the probability of COVID-19 is very low. So in that case, the scan may be normal, or you may see a radiopacity which are non-infectious. You may see a small subpleural band. You may see a very subsegmental atelectatic changes. So in that case, you can categorize it as a category 1. In category 2, the suspicion for pulmonary involvement is low, and you will see the changes in the lung parenchyma which are typical of other disease other than COVID-19. For example, pulmonary tuberculosis, you will see a cavitary lesion in the apical lobe with surrounding consolidation and Trinidad appearance, or in the multiple nodules. So in that case, you will categorize that lesion as a category 2. In category 3 is equivocal or indeterminate category, where the radiopacities you may not categorize it clearly within the COVID patients or non-COVID category or non-COVID category. So follow-up is required for such a patients, and correlation with the clinical findings is very, very important in such category. In category 4, the level of suspicion is high, and you will see the multiple ground glass opacities in a different lobes on in both the lung fields. But they are not predominantly involving the subpleural areas. They are not predominantly in the bilateral lower lobes. Both upper lobes and the middle lobe and the lingular segment may be involved. So you can categorize that patients into category 4. In category 5, where the clinical pulmonary involvement is very high suspicious for the COVID-19, you will see the typical changes of COVID-19 with bilateral basal involvement, consolidation, ground glass opacities, and interlobular septal. In category 6 is a proven case of COVID-19 with RT-PCR. So if the patient is a proven case of COVID-19, then you should mention the CT severity score within your report. So what is CT severity score? Is basically each lobe has assigned a scoring system from score 1 to score 5. So there are total 5 lobes. So your score will be out of 25. So you have to add the score for each lobe and calculate the total score. So you divide the total score into mild, moderate, and the severe disease. In the mild disease, the total score will be between 0 to 9. In the moderate disease, the score will be between 10 to 17, and in the severe disease, the score will be between 18 to 25. So it helps us to decide on the management of the patient. So among the long list of this complication, the common complications are multi-organ failure, septic shock, and vascular involvement due to its affinity for the ACE2 receptors. This is a proven case of COVID-19 patient. This patient was unable to maintain his saturation. That's why the clinician was suspecting the pulmonary thromboembolism, and that's why the pulmonary angiogram was run. If you see the lung window of this patient, which shows the typical appearance of this COVID-19 pneumonia. And if you see here, there is a small filling defect in the descending branch of the left pulmonary artery. This is nothing but the acute thrombus in the descending pulmonary artery. So the incidence of the pulmonary thromboembolism is high in COVID patient. In ICU setting, it is around 20 to 30% as compared to the patient admitted in the ICU for non-COVID reasons. So incidence in that category is around 6 to 7%. So this is another patient. We showed there is an abrupt cutoff of the brachial artery at the level of elbow. There is a thrombosis and there is non-opacification of the proximal radial and the ulnar artery. Okay, and again, if you see, there is a central filling defect. This is a zoomed image. Central filling defect in the left innominate artery. So this is a case of left innominate artery thrombosis and the left brachial artery thrombosis with complete occlusion of the radial and the ulnar artery. This is also a proven case of COVID-19, and this patient presented as a cyanosis of the fingers. So this patient came presented as a stroke initially, and the stroke protocol was run. The CT scan was done, which showed a wedge-shaped hypodensity, which is involving the gray and white matter of temporal lobe, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, basal ganglia, with mass effect on the lateral ventricle. And this is the CT angiogram image, which showed there is a absent opacification of the left middle cerebral artery. So this is the occlusion of the left middle cerebral artery, producing the acute left MCA territory infarct. So when we acquired the images for CT angiogram in the brain, we generally cover the aortic arch. So in this patient, we started from the aortic arch, and if you see, there are changes of consolidation with interlobular septal thickening in the bilateral lung apices. So later on, this patient turned out to be a COVID positive. Sometime you may see damage to the alveoli or damage to the trachea. It may be iatrogenic trauma due to the during intubation or during the excessive mechanical ventilation, and you may see extravasation of the air in the soft tissue or in the mediastinum. In this case, if you see, a lot of air is present in the subcutaneous tissue of the chest, in the muscle fibers, even in the mediastinum, anterior mediastinum around the vessels. So this is a case of barotrauma. And if you see carefully, there is a break in the right posterolateral wall of the trachea. So this is iatrogenic injury to the tracheal wall. So the take-home message is everybody of us, clinician as well as radiologist, should be familiar with the common and uncommon manifestations and the complication of the disease. High resolution CT scan is not yet accepted as a screening tool in COVID-19 patient, and its use should be limited to the patients who are RT-PCR negative. Second, to detect the complication and if the alternative diagnosis is suspected. Thank you.